Hello everyone and welcome back to Project Fern. I'm Danny and today we've got another video on my 2008 Audi S3. This is the first time the car's been in the unit. It was last serviced at 134,000 miles. It's now done 142,000 miles. So I think it's time that we give it a full service, which I'm looking forward to doing. I got prices from multiple places so I could compare how much each item cost. I'm going to go through exactly what I've got now before I start the service while the engine cools down just a little bit, and tell you how much everything costs and where I got it from. The most important thing on the buy list for me was the oil, and I've gone with the Miller's Oil Nano Drive CFS 5W40 NT Plus fully synthetic. This was £67.99 from OP Oils, and I chose this with it being highly recommended and also with the car being mapped. I don't know if standard you put 5W30s in, but I've gone with a 5W40s and we'll see how we get on with this. Next on the list was spark plugs. I've gone with the NGK PFR7 S8 EGs from OP Oils. They were £39.79. Again, highly recommended. I think they're better than the ones that Audi put in, so I've heard. Quite expensive, but still £10 a plug. This car is due them. I don't mind swapping these out every 10,000 miles, but I've got them and I'm happy. If you've watched my service history video on the car, I noticed that on the Audi invoices they always replace the sump plug and washer. So I bought one. It was £2.95 again from OP Oil, and I just thought for the sake of £3 I'll just swap it out every time I drop the oil on the car. I'm going to be looking at doing an oil change every 5,000–6,000 miles and a full service every 10,000 miles on this car. Next are the genuine Audi parts that I bought. The oil filter was £14.39, and then the fuel filter to the right there in the bigger box was £30.70. What was a bit weird is I got these from Audi Bolton. I know you can get the fuel filters online, genuine ones, for £22.99, but I did order loads of bits from Audi for the car, which will be coming up in other videos, so I just thought for the sake of it I might as well get the filter while I was there. The parts guy said that they don't actually swap many of them out at Audi, which is strange really, because as soon as this car ended up going to a specialist rather than the dealer, he swapped the fuel filter out every time it was serviced. So I'm happy to do that for the sake of £30. I don't think it is an actual service part with Volkswagen. I don't with Audi, sorry, and I don't know whether they brought it in on later services or amended any service schedules. But like I say, when this car was going into an Audi main dealer, it never had the fuel filter changed. The last two things I bought from Euro Car Parts. We've got the Bosch air filter on the right there, which was £12.98, and then we've got the cabin filter on the left, which was £6.37. I wanted to buy genuine Audi parts, but they were just stupid prices. So I weren't going to be paying that for the sake of an air filter and a pollen filter. I'm more concerned about oil filters, fuel filters being genuine. But again, Bosch parts are brilliant. They're as close to a genuine part as you can get anywhere. And these were literally a fraction of the price. So altogether, for all them bits, including the oils and stuff, it was £175.17 for all the bits. I don't know how much a big service would be. When we were looking on that service history video I did, I think it was £350–400. So there is quite a bit of a saving to be done if you do the car yourself. I'll be having a good look around the car too. I'll be looking at like the brakes, underneath the exhaust, looking for oil leaks, bearing noises, any suspension wear, anything like that. So that's too much waffling already, I think. So let's get on with the service. The first thing I'm going to do is just quickly check the lights, and then I'm going to take the airbox cover off and get the car jacked up and get this oil dropped. As you've just seen on the video then, the front lights are fine, but on the back here we've got a brake light out, well, one that's not illuminating enough, and we've also got a driver side number plate light bulb out. So I'm going to have a look at them, get them changed out. Front wipers are fine, rear wipers not. Common issue, we've got the droopy wiper arm, but also the fluid isn't coming out. Now I know that they get corroded under here, so I've just given it a go and it's not working. We're going to pull this cap off, and then we've got the nozzle underneath which should just pull off. Right, so let's set this tripod up and see if we've got fluid coming through, and if we have, we're going to need a new nozzle end. That washer jet is definitely blocked. I'm going to get a new one. I'm not going to bother trying to clean it out or anything. It'll probably be a few quid to get a brand new one, and seeing as I'm going to be replacing that wiper motor anyway, I might as well put a brand new nozzle on it as well. I've got the airbox housing off, the engine cover, whatever you want to call it. Still fuming that this sticker's come off. I'm going to have to make another one for it. But I understand what people say about doing this when it's warm. It just heats these rubbers up. One has split, which is why there's obviously rubber bungs always on the invoices. I'll have to get one of them ordered. I'm going to have to start making a bit of a list. All 4 bungs have come off. And then under the engine, it is very, very clean. Apart from a few rusty clips and stuff, I can't see anything that looks too major. The only thing is there is a screw missing out of this on this side. I'll have to get one of them. I'm going to make a list in a second. I've got these mounts here. I don't know what is supposed to go there, or whether it's had an induction kit on it at some stage in its life. But that'll do for me. Going to give all these a clean up in a bit, but first job is get the oil dropped, and then we can move on to the other parts of the service. So I've just had a quick look online, and this gap here is supposed to be there. If you have a TDI engine in, I think the airbox pipe runs down and the airbox runs into there, so panic over. I started making my list on here. We've got air duct screw, brake bulb, number plate bulb and airbox bung so far. So let's hope that continues and there's nothing major this car needs above the usual suspects. I've just had a quick look under the car now. It's up on the jack. There's no actual signs of oil leaks or anything. I've got the front cover to remove down there to get to the oil filter. Exhaust is as you'd expect from a 13-year-old car. Don't seem like it's blowing or anything. And then let's get under here. We've got our fuel filter there. In terms of on the back here, got your surface rust on the components and stuff. Nothing looks too deep. Who knows, in summer I might start stripping this car down and get it all powder coated. But as it stands, it all looks pretty clean underneath. Going to get an axle stand put underneath now before I get under and drop this oil finally. That's the underneath front cover off. They do one that goes further back. I'm going to have to order a couple of these screws as there were 2 missing. Stuff like that proper annoys me. So I end up spending like £3 with Audi picking up little screws. I don't know why people don't just replace them when they've lost them or dropped them. It's not hard, is it? But anyway, 19mm nut now onto the sump plug, and we'll get this oil finally draining. I'm just comparing the 2 sump plugs, both identical. Obviously this is the new one. I'm going to crack on now while the oil's draining with doing the spark plugs, just as simple as pulling all these out. There's a bit of a knack to it. There's loads of videos on YouTube on how you pull these coils out. A lot of people put a bit of a puller behind there to get them out, but you basically unlock all these at the same time, pull the multi-plugs back, and then you can pull each individual coil pack out. I've lowered the car down. I've took the axle stand out and lowered the car down so it's as flat as possible so I can get as much oil out as I can. I'm also going to do the airbox as well. So I've just whipped all the old spark plugs out. They do look like they've seen better days. 1 and 2 weren't really that tight. Number 3 wasn't even tight. As you can see on the coil pack, it's covered in crap, which I'm going to have to clean off. Number 4 was the only one which was tight. I've had a look online and saying the spark plugs need torquing up, or brand new spark plugs with fresh washers between 25 and 35 Newton meters. I'm going to go bang in the middle and torque these up to 35 Newton meters with a 3/8 torque wrench. I'm just going to clean this off now and get everything put back in. All the other individual coil packs, or whatever you want to call them, I don't know what the exact term is for them, they all look fine. Number 1's a little bit rusted, maybe the washer's gone a little bit on top. I'm going to add that to the list and get a new one of them ordered. As you saw then, that's all the spark plugs torqued up to 30 Newton meters. I've gone slap bang in the middle of what they say online. I've cleaned the first coil pack top off. I'm going to have this car proper detailed. You saw how quick and easy it was for me to torque them spark plugs up as well. Don't understand why people do it. I've never heard of spark plugs wicking themselves loose. Not on anything I've done anyway. It might be a common fault, might be no one's fault this, it might just happened. But hopefully the car will run better for what I've just done. That's the old air filter at the side of the new air filter. I think these two black marks are just from where them bungs are, if they get a bit sloppy. Bits of leaf in there, very dusty in there, which I'm going to give a quick blowout now and a clean out and a wipe down with some wipes. Get this put back in and then we're done with the air filter. I've just noticed there's this hole here. I don't know if that's supposed to be open or not. I'm going to have to make a note of that. I've had a look on the back of the engine. I can't see any pipe that goes through it or breather or anything. So I'm just going to have a quick look when I get home, and if it needs anything I'll just get it ordered. The next job on the list is why I took that front splash guard off, cover, whatever you want to call it, is the oil filter. There's a screw cap here that you can take off, and there is a tool you can put on there to suck the oil out of the oil filter housing, which I don't have. I'm not too bothered about it dripping down here and cleaning it all up, that's not a problem. The socket size for that is a 36mm socket, which I have here. I bought this by mistake last year or beginning of this year to do the rear axle nuts, the hub nuts on the Berlingo, and I didn't take it back, and I'm so glad I didn't because it fits. So I'm going to take this off now and let it all drain a bit longer, and then put the new filter on and we can get all that torqued up as well. It's only a plastic housing this. Online it says 25 Newton meters, so that's what that'll be getting torqued up to in a minute. I've got the oil filter out. I've given the housing a really good clean because I like cleaning things when I take it off, and I didn't realise it comes with some little instructions. It tells you to take the old oil seal out, put some oil on before you put it back on, make sure the tab is facing upwards, and then it's saying 25 Newton meters plus 5 Newton meters. So 25 click and then another 5 on top of that. So I don't know if that means 30 altogether. Do 25 and then 30, and we'll find out in a minute. But I'm going to take it as that, do 25 and then do 30. I'm just going to remove this old filter now, take the old seal out and just make note of where it was, and then put the new one in and get it put back in and start the clean up underneath. That's a new filter in with the seal. That's a lot baggier than the one I took out. The one that I took out had like a rubber thing that held it in a little bit tight. I don't think it matters. Once it's in I suppose. I'm just going to double check that seal and then get it put in. I'm all done underneath the car now, so I've just give the under tray, well the front splash guard, whatever you want to call it, a good clean with some G101. I'll show you under the car now. So we're all super clean. New sump plug right there. Oil filter housing, super clean as well. Just going to give that a wipe down now and get the rest of that brake cleaner off. That was torqued up to 25 Newton meters, then 30, and the sump plug was tightened up to 30 Newton meters too. So I'm done underneath here now. I'm going to whip the wheels off on the cars and have a look round and look at the brakes and stuff. I do suspect that there's some brakes needed on the back, which is why I've got a box over there of stuff. But let's try and get this service finished. It's dragging on now. I'm super enjoying doing it though, as you can tell. I love being able to clean things and put things back and know they've been torqued up properly and we've not got any loose spark plugs. When you do it yourself, you're on your own time, there's no rush, and that's what I like the most about doing it. Next job's this lovely little fuel filter. I'm not going to show you how to do it, but when you do it, please make sure you wear safety goggles to make sure any fuel that flicks off the pipes doesn't go in your eyes and start stinging. Do it in a ventilated room or whatever. It can only go on one way with these two pipes at the back. That's a securing lug that puts it into the bracket. So I'm going to crack on with that now and I'll show you it when it's in. Unfortunately I can't change the fuel filter. All the pipes come off easy enough, but the screw that holds the bracket in is all corroded and rounded off. I've tried drilling it out, but I've stopped because I don't actually want to drill it out when I've not got a screw to put back in it. So I'm going to add the fuel pump bracket, the fuel filter bracket screw onto the list. I'll jump under the car now and show you what I mean. You can see the screws rounded. I've started drilling it out. You can kind of see a bit of the screw head still in it, but I can't get anything in it to take it out. It just spins. So I'm going to have to drill that out. I can't see how the bracket attaches underneath that, but it's not one for today, that. At least the pipes come off easy enough. Just a shame that screw's gone. I don't want to be getting anything in there causing a spark or anything, so I'm just going to leave it be. So I've been round all the brakes on the car. The front discs and pads seem okay, about 3-4 mil left on them. I've just come round to this back near side rear, which has been squeaking and stuff, and the brake pads are very low. Looks like there's a lot of heat damage here. On the back edge there, it looks like the brake pad's pretty much dead. Also, there's a lot of corrosion there on the piston of the caliper. So I have got disc and pads for this car for the rear sat in a box over there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get a replacement caliper just in case. So I'm going to take the other side off now and have an inspection of that, and I might end up getting 2 calipers for it. But if I'm doing it, I want to take all this off and either get new or repaint them. But yeah, let's get the other side and see where we're going with that. The driver's side isn't as bad. There is wear to the pads and the discs. I'd rather just put discs and pads on it, which is why I bought them. But I'm going to get a price for 2 new calipers. I'm going to pick them up. They're all corroded, and I'm going to try and get some new brake pad carriers as well, so it all looks nice on the back. Don't mind spending money on cars as long as they're right. Front disc and pads as well I may as well get, and just spend a bit of money on this car and make sure it stops properly. It's not ideal at the moment to drive it as it is, so I'm just going to park it up, finish the service now, and I'll park it up until I do the disc and pads. It literally looks like I've used every bloody tool I've got in my toolbox. I wouldn't have been able to do this with the Escort still inside, which is why I've pulled it outside. Right, I'm going to let it down off a jack now, and I'm finally going to put the engine oil back in. I'm going to do the pollen filter. It takes 4.6 litres of oil, this approximately. I'm going to put 4 and a bit in and see how we get on from there. But yeah, it took me a good few hours to do all that, but I'm not bothered. Like I say, I enjoy doing it, and it's nice finding all these little problems and sorting them out. The last job of the day is the pollen filter before we start it up. The engine oil is in, it's dipped, it's at the correct level. I've just pulled the car forward a little bit so I can get in better, as the pollen filter's in the passenger footwell. Again, there's plenty of YouTube videos on how you replace these. It's easy enough to do, so I'm going to put this one in now, prime that fuel filter back up, and then we'll get the car started. Well, there you go, it's all finished. It took me a good 2 or 3 hours to do all that. I've replaced the number plate bulb in the back and the brake light bulb. Everything's done bar that fuel filter, which I explained and showed you earlier. So I'm in a list of stuff to do. We've got to get an air duct screw. We need a brake bulb, which I've done, number plate bulb done. 2 cover screws for that under shield, but there's more screws missing, so I'm about to get 5 or 6 of them. Get a coil pack, air box hole, just do a bit of research on that. Fuel filter screw, get a new one of them so I can drill that one out, maybe get a new carrier. 2 rear brake calipers, 2 rear brake pad carriers, front disc and pads, and we need a rear washer nozzle as well. So there's still quite a bit to do on this car, as well as all this stuff, the door card, the new armrest, parcel shelf clip, bonnet seal near side, I'll go through that next time, offside mirror cap. They ain't cheap. Rear wiper motor, which I've got, front wiper arm cap's missing somewhere. I don't know if you can see it down there, but I've got one of them. So still plenty to do on the S3. As well as the diverter valve, we've got the fuel tappet, the cam follower should I say. What else have we got in the box over here? Oh, we've got a new dipstick as well. I should have put that in really, but it doesn't matter. I can do it next time the car's in. Like I said, I'm just going to park this up now and go and sort all the brake pads out and stuff. Give it a quick spin round the block, make sure everything's alright, it feels good. Seems like it's idling a lot better now that coil pack's been cleaned off and the spark plugs have been changed, so definitely worth doing for the £40 the spark plugs were. Well, there you go. I've got to admit, I'm pretty tired now. That's took me a good 2 or 3 hours to sort all that out. Quite an in-depth video, even though it weren't as such a tutorial, but it always shows why I like to service my own cars, go through anything, clean up bits when you're putting them back on. Still plenty to come on this car, like I always say, like I've just said earlier as well. Thanks for watching if you've made it this far. Always make sure you hit the subscribe button, smash that like button, and I'll see you in the next video.